I have indigestion right now.
Okay. Hello, Jasmine.
Hello, Hugo.
Hello, Andres.
Hey, how's it going?
And bienvenidos to Watcheando movies.
Why is it spooky?
Yeah, I've been good for October.
I
But
don't know.
Ooh.
I'm tired. Okay.
Okay.
So, just real quick, the premise of the podcast, we run it down every episode.
Yeah.
Jasmine, you used to
Mhm.
like movies back in like 2012, 2011,
Sure.
and then you stopped, and you're not really consuming content except for anime, you say?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to like rekindle that love of film that you had. Andres, did you like movies? Do you like movies? I feel like I need to come up with a better like sentence for you. I don't know what to say.
Andres, you enjoy movies as well.
I only watch TikToks.
Oh, man. So he's below me now.
Okay.
What do you mean? TikTok is the highest type of entertainment there is.
It's okay. There's not enough people making food.
Okay.
But yeah, I like movies.
Yeah, and you've liked them for like 4 years now.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Okay. And you did it before, right? You used to say you hated movies because you rather, what was it? You can't sit down for 2 hours, but you can play a game for 2 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into it.
I mean, there's not much else to say.
Man.
Yeah.
Like in the movie, you have to sit there for the whole 2 hours. In the game, I can stand up and it's fine. Like I don't feel bad for pausing a game. I feel bad for pausing a movie, though. You know, because a game is multiple hours. Like yeah, you're gonna have to pause it at some point, anyways.
So what are we watching today?
So Hugo, you like movies, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a film buff. I've been one since I was 13-ish. So like 7 years-ish. Around there. I'm almost 21.
Yeah, your math's
No, okay.
wrong.
No, yeah, no.
8 whole years.
13. 7 years
shoot,
ago, I
my
was
math
13.
is wrong.
Yeah. So, with all that out of the way, Andres, what movie are we watching today?
There will be blood.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've traveled over half our state to be here tonight. I couldn't get away sooner because my new well was coming in at Coyote Hills and I had to see about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if I say I'm an oil man, you will agree. I'm a family man. I run a family business. This is my son and my partner, H.W. Plainview.
You boys are a regular family business.
Now, you have a great chance here.
My son is a healer and a vessel for the Holy Spirit. He has a church.
You will be cast up and thrust back to perdition.
I'm fixed like no other company in this field. I have a string of tools ready to put to work. That's why I can guarantee to start drilling and to put up the cash to back my word. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what the others promise to do, when it comes to the showdown, they won't.
Spoilers, of course. Okay, so this movie is written for the screen and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
So right away, I have a question.
Okay, all right.
I read on Reddit that this was based off a book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Something's
this is
Upton-
based on Oil. Oil, with an exclamation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Upton Sinclair. Do you know who Upton Sinclair is?
He wrote something else. Did he write The Jungle? Or
Yeah, he
something?
wrote The Jungle.
Yeah.
He wrote Holes.
Did he?
They're the same movie.
So Upton Sinclair was a socialist.
Mm.
We learned about him in history class.
We?
Yeah, we took the
Like-
same history class.
We?
Maybe we briefly, like during the Industrial Revolution, all that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Maybe.
So he's a socialist. He ran for governor of California, and he lost. But he wrote a book called The Jungle, which was about the meatpacking industry
Yeah.
in America,
Mhm.
and that led to the creation of the FDA, the Food
Yeah.
and Drug Administration. So pretty famous guy, pretty interesting guy. He obviously doesn't like capitalism,
Yeah.
which we can tell, I guess, by this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it stars Daniel Day-Lewis and
Mhm.
Paul Dano. It had its first screening on September 29th, 2007 at something called a Fantastic Fest. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Me either. It's a film festival in Austin, Texas. It was started by the guy who did Alamo Drafthouse. Do you know what Alamo Drafthouse is?
Yeah.
Tampoco.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what Flick's Brewhouse?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, except it's in Texas.
Mm.
So it's like sort of like a luxury movie experience.
Sure.
And he created a film festival.
Mm.
And then it was released on December 26, 2007 in LA and New York, a limited release. And then it was released wide on January 2008. It grossed $76.1 million worldwide. It has a budget of $25 million.
That's good.
Yeah. It's it's not that expensive. I mean, it's $25 million, but it's not like
compared to other movies.
Compared to other movies,
Sure.
It has a 91% Rotten Tomato score and an 86% audience score. Here's the consensus. It says, widely touted as a masterpiece, this sparse and sprawling epic about the underhanded, quote-unquote, heroes of capitalism boasts incredible performances by leads Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. And his directors Paul Thomas Anderson's best work to date. At the 80th Academy Awards, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound Editing. And it won for Best Cinematography and Best Actor for Daniel Day-Lewis.
It didn't get nominated for Best Score?
No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That is wild.
That's weird. Here's the summary from Wikipedia. Ruthless silver miner turned oil prospector Daniel Plainview moves to oil-rich California, using his adopted son, H.W., to project a trustworthy family man image. What's his name? Plainview?
Plainview.
Plainview.
Sorry, my writing.
You wrote a T.
I know. You get what you get.
Plainview was local. Hold up. Plainview. This is Jasmine's handwriting, by the way. It's
Let her read it out loud.
Plainview. Here you go. You read it. Actually, here you go.
So the Wikipedia summary says, and I'm blind, so let me see. Ruthless silver miner turned oil prospector Daniel Plainview moves to oil-rich
See,
California.
you said Plainview.
What is it?
Plainview.
Is it not Plainview?
No.
Plainview?
Yeah.
Daniel Plainview moves to oil-rich California using his adopted son H.W. to project a trustworthy family man image. Plainview? Plainview.
I don't even know what it is anymore.
Local landowners into selling him their valuable. Oh, my voice! I'm so sorry. Should I do it again?
Keep going.
Their valuable properties for a pittance. Is that how you say that word?
I don't know.
However, local preacher Eli Sunday suspects Plainview's motives and intentions, starting a slow-burning feud that threatens both their lives.
Nice.
And if you guys didn't understand any of that, that's okay. We took it all from Wikipedia.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, Andres, you've heard about this movie before.
Yeah.
What were your expectations of it? Like, what were you,
I was expecting this big murdery type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was set in older times, so I was expecting cowboys and stuff from the title and stuff. And it wasn't that, but it was great.
Yeah. Jasmine, you never heard of it, right?
I'm pretty sure I have.
You have?
Yeah.
So what were your expectations of it?
Oh, wait. Never mind. Well, I mean, I've heard of the movie. I just didn't know what it was about.
Or did you hear that it was great or anything?
No. Maybe. I know he won an Oscar for it.
Nice.
Okay, other than that, I didn't know.
Nice. So I saw this movie for the first time when I was 15, and I also I thought it was going to be like a way more bloody thing.
Yeah, that title is a little misleading.
And it's not entirely that, but I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite movies when I was in high school. I think by the time I was a senior, it was like my second favorite movie of all time, and I've seen it, 6 times. I think it's endlessly rewatchable.
Sure.
In that way, it's always on Netflix, so it's easy to watch.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's that. What were your guys' reactions, and did you guys like the movie?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I mean, okay.
A lot of people definitely think this is a movie.
Yeah.
It's a I can appreciate it and enjoy that part of the filmmakingness of it versus what we watched last week.
Yeah, like we watched The Kissing Booth last week, and it was
It's
terrible.
like a very stark contrast, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this is like considered one of the best films of the 21st century.
And
you know,
yeah, it was enjoyable to watch.
yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily liked this. I'm not much of a drama person, but I liked the film as a whole. And I do think you can probably watch it a few times.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know if I will.
Andres, what did you like about it?
It was very intense.
Yeah.
And it was really great acted. Everyone was awesome. I really liked that. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed watching these characters
interact.
Yeah.
Like be in the world.
Yeah.
Jasmine, you said you had anxiety when you were watching it.
Yeah. So I drank coffee, but the score was so unnerving.
Yeah.
I just constantly thought something horrible was going to happen.
Yeah.
And bad things happened, but nothing horrible. But it was a bizarre experience. It made me very anxious.
Yeah, that score is super intense. Right from the
it's
very
great,
beginning,
though. It's great. I really
in that
enjoyed
first scene, it sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
By the way, the score is made by a guy named Johnny Greenwood. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know any
he is
composers.
the lead guitarist and keyboard for Radiohead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I guess, do you guys want to talk about favorite scenes?
Yes.
Yes, you do? Okay.
I mean, I don't. I just want to say mine.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys are going to take
Go
it.
on.
So I don't know if it's a scene or not, but the first 15 minutes of the movie is great.
You mean when it's just silent?
It's just silent, and it's just... Because I think it portrays really well, solid acting.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically what is that thing in writing? Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And does that really well with the score, with the way the camera, the cinematography. I think it really helps kind of set the mood and tone for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think you can kind of really get a grasp of who the character is without any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. He's what's the word? He doesn't give up. What would be the word?
I don't know.
Relentless.
Relentless. Not just that, but you can already see his antisocial tendencies there, right? Because he's by himself. He doesn't necessarily rely on anyone.
Yeah.
Even when he's hurt, right? And he's very determined. He's okay, I have this piece of silver.
Determined. That's
yeah. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It really. I think one of the things I've never really had a good grasp on is sound editing, and I think that is a really great. Those 15 minutes are really great of noticing the subtle of good sound editing, because it's kind of overly emphasized because there's no other thing to hear as you're watching it.
So
it was a very thoughtful 15 minutes.
So the picking of the axe and that type.
Yeah,
that type of sound.
Even just him climbing, the wood breaking. Everything.
Yeah.
I think it sounds so good.
Yeah. All right. Then this.
So I originally also wanted to talk about that, because that part is just amazing. It's probably one of the best openings to any movie I've seen in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
But another scene that I also really liked was when the whole rig just blows up and it gets caught on fire. That is super intense. The music gives me so much anxiety. It feels like my heart is going with the beat, and it's going fast and intense. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, something about the score in that scene too. It's kind of avant-garde.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of off. It's not instruments. It's kind of just I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Like a
Have
bunch
you
of
seen
like,
Bob's Burgers? When Louise has her fake nails and she's like, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
I was like, kind of like
Yeah.
rhythmic too, very rhythmic.
yeah, and it also like I guess offsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite scene takes place. It's when Daniel first goes into the church, and he sees Eli, and
Oh,
Eli's
yeah,
with an
yeah,
old
yeah.
woman,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You got the arthritis."
For if you do, all the armies of my boots will kick you in the teeth. And you will be cast up and thrown in the dirt and thrust back to perdition. And as long as I have teeth, I will bite you. And if I have no teeth, I will gum you. And as long as I have fish, I will bash you. Now get out of here! Get out of here, Gus! Get out of here, Gus! And it
I love Paul Dano's acting in that because it's so over the top,
Yeah.
and he's doing that like preacher sort of thing, and it makes me laugh. I think it's really funny.
Did you guys see that text I sent when I was like, "What the world?"
Yeah,
That was because I was just watching that
that
scene.
scene.
Yeah.
Nice.
So is that how things go down in church?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in some churches.
yeah, it's
but-
like a specific branch of Christianity
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I'm sure there's.
I mean, because he later became like a radio preacher, right? And I feel like televangelists kind of have this kind of like fakeness to themselves. And I
So
think-
it's like
Yeah.
And Paul Thomas Anderson has always like made fun of, not made fun of, but he's like criticized religion a lot, and he like compares it to cults and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the first opening scene, the opening scene. So Paul Thomas Anderson has talked about. He was one of my favorite directors when I was in high school, so I watched like a ton of interviews with him. He talked about how he always wanted to make a silent film, and that was his like way to sort of like get that across, like
Yeah.
the closest that he'll ever come to making a silent film. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. Yeah. So the question I ask now is, what did you guys notice? But the first thing you guys said is that you noticed the score.
Yeah.
That score is
Great.
great. Yeah. Why?
Because it's different. And I think because I feel like you tend to hear like that unnerving aspect of movies when you're watching like a thriller or like a horror movie, and this isn't that, you know? Even though the title is like There Will Be Blood, it's not really like gory or horror or much of a thriller, right? It's very pretty much a drama.
Yeah.
So I think that's what was very striking, and also just the sound was different. I think overall, like the score was used pretty sparingly, right? Because I think it was the intro. Intro, is that what it's called? I don't know.
Yeah, the opening scene.
The opening scene, the well, or is that what it's called? I don't know. The oil rig scene, and then the ending scene. I think those had the most distinct
Moments of music.
right? Or did you guys notice anything else?
I have a scene I want to talk about, but I'll let you finish.
Okay, no, that's it.
Okay. Right after he's about to go to the Sunday farm, that when they're driving to it, the music's like very high notes and sounds kind of whimsical, and then it drastically changes to very low notes, and it sounds like menacing, scary. And I thought that was really awesome, because that's kind of like how this is, you know, like this guy kind of living a dream, becoming rich and stuff, and then there's all these bad things also happening.
Yeah.
So that was great.
There was a moment, so like where he just goes to the guy that he was gonna buy the land from, and
The
then
Sunday family?
the Brandy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just sort of like putting sticks in the ground
Yeah.
and measuring, you know, whatever. My dad does that. I don't know what that is though. You know, measuring whatever the
Yes.
but
Measuring.
Yeah, measuring something. And that's sort of monotonous work, but then the score behind it sort of like gives it a whole other
Yeah.
meaning. It's like sort of like they're doing something bad and
Yeah.
something bad's gonna happen. Yeah, and that's like, I guess that adds to the sort of horror of the characters inside, probably. Like Daniel. Do you think Daniel Day-Lewis's character is a bad person?
You know, I'm gonna say no.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Explain yourself.
Are we gonna do acting or like writing and stuff
You
like
could
that?
do everything. You could do everything.
So, I'm not convinced he's like this sociopath that this movie's trying to portray. I don't know if it's portraying him to be that, because I just don't see him. Oh, I'm so sorry. As a sociopath.
Well, he has that one monologue when he's all like,
I don't like people.
"I don't like people.
I'm
I'm very competitive."
But, is that just like bitterness talking though? I mean, I don't know. Is it because he murdered people that he's like?
Murder is pretty bad.
small
I mean,
thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see him as a bad person. Well, no. He's a bad person, but maybe not a sociopath. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's sort of like I think.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is because I don't buy that he didn't love his son.
You don't buy it?
No.
What do you mean?
Okay, so like at the end when he's like telling his son, "Oh, you're a bastard basket something,
bastard
Carol
and
basket, I don't know."
Yeah.
And then, but then it like right after that scene, it like there's a flashback right where he's interacting with it, with him.
Yeah, he's
And it's
like
like-
playing with him.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I think sometimes people. Never mind. I'm not gonna defend. Should I defend?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that he already kind of had bitterness in him, and they don't necessarily explain why he became the way he is. He just left home all of a sudden. He just decided to do his own thing. Maybe it's wealth based, and I guess he kind of did use his son.
Yeah,
I do think that even though maybe he still cared for him. I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't think he's a sociopath.
Yeah. Andres, do you think he's a bad person?
No, throughout the movie, I was struggling if I should be rooting for him or not. And a lot of it is just because he was very charming.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm falling for your spell. But then he would do these bad things and be like, I don't know, man. Like, the first time I was questioning, like, oh, I shouldn't be rooting for him, is when Eli comes up to him and he's like, hey, you know that money you promised the church? And he's like, what about my deaf son? And he just starts punching him.
You know
and, like,
why?
I feel kind of like, all right, I get where you're coming from. You're upset. Your son just went through this terrible thing, and this guy's over here asking for money. It was a little much. You threw him on the ground, made him eat mud. But maybe you're just upset. I'm not gonna say you're a bad person just yet. But then it was when he abandoned his son on the train, where it was like, oh man,
Yeah.
you're not a good guy, huh?
Well, look, let me interject with that scene
Alright.
with the pastor, right?
Right.
Because he was like saying something about like your God or like spiritualness. I don't know, like
Wait,
where it
what
says
scene?
holy power. I don't know. Daniel Day-Lewis's character Daniel was saying something like, "Where's your God now?" or something like that, right? So I don't necessarily think he was mad
You mean
at
like
him for
at the end when
asking
he's
money. No. In that
Oh,
scene,
and when
Andy,
he's
the mud
slapping
scene.
him. Okay.
I think it was more like a mocking of, or like anger towards a higher power, like, right, like where's your higher power, or supposed higher power that's
Yeah.
supposed to protect innocence, right? Where was that higher power with my son? So I don't necessarily see him as like, even though it's bad, se está desquitando
Okay.
with,
Just translate that
I
one.
don't know how to, I don't know what it is.
Like expressing his frustrations.
It's because desquitar. He's just like projecting his maybe anger towards the world or something at this guy who's a physical representation of, like spirituality and religion and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. So I was like, okay, I mean, he reacted poorly, but this scene doesn't necessarily make him a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But then obviously he did abandon his son.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if it's because he wasn't useful anymore or because he didn't know how to interact with him after that point. For me, it was more so that he couldn't, because there was that like emotional bond between them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that minute he lost the ability to communicate with him, I feel like he wasn't well equipped to like try and be a better person.
Like he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, like he wasn't. It's not. I mean, I guess that makes him a bad person.
It's not like it was gonna get him money to learn.
Yeah.
To do
to like
sign
communicate.
language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously we see that kind of like comparison with like Mary, who like took interest in
Him?
learning sign and stuff like that because she did care for him, right?
Yeah.
And him was like, I care for you, but not that much.
I was so
Right.
happy they got married.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
cute.
But, so I think so. There's moments where like Plainview is his last name, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where he's just like he's saying how he sort of shows that he's a good person, right? Like a quote unquote good person, where he like I'm gonna build a school in this town, and you guys are gonna flourish and bread, and then like he helps the little girl, what's her name, Mary, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like she's playing, and then he catches her, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a good person." He's like, "I'm like your father isn't gonna beat you as long as I'm here," and she's kind of like, "Okay," kind of made him comfortable by that. And I don't know if I think that's just him showing off to sort of like, like.
I don't think he's a bad person or a sociopath. I think he's just like a misanthrope. Is that how you
What does that
pronounce
mean?
it? Like, he just hates people.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't necessarily think. I mean, he's a bad person, a misanthrope, but I don't think he's a sociopath.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's sort of like he does have humanity, and I think in that scene where he's all like, "You're a bastard in a basket," and they show that flashback, I think that's showing the little humanity he had in him.
Yeah.
But the further he got into the sort of like capitalistic game of getting more oil, getting more money, like sort of like the worse he got, and the further away from humanity.
The more he got, the worse he got.
Yeah,
Right.
and like even like it's reflected in his physicality, where he's just like completely like his back's fucked.
But I mean, ultimately he accomplished his dreams, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean dreams, but they weren't like
You know that?
they weren't. He's like alone in a big house, and like
That's what you wanted.
he's so bored that he's just shooting random shit in his house.
That's what you want.
So it's just kind of like maybe he wasn't an evil person, but the sort of like capitalism is competition,
Mm-hmm.
and that sort of got into him, and that made him worse and worse and
Yeah.
worse. Where
Okay.
like where he, like you could say that he had some remorse in the beginning when HW's
He saved
father
the baby?
died. Yeah,
Or
like when
he took-
when his father died, and
Yeah.
that's why he took in the
Because
baby.
there's that really cute moment where the baby reaches out to him,
to
right? and
grab his
caress-
mustache.
Yeah. And then he's like smiling down at
Yeah.
him.
But then by the time like they're at the well at the Sunday farm, he's just like, oh fuck, another person died, and that's sort of like he didn't care about that loss, Yeah. So it's just like his empathy is
Excuse me.
getting out of him because he's playing that game. Yeah.
He's apathetic.
Yeah, and then like even like when his son starts doing his own oil business in a different country,
Yeah.
he's just like, you're my competition.
Yeah.
Get out of here, so it's sort of like ruining him.
Yeah.
Because oil men at this time were like the tech giants that we have today, like Mark Zuckerberg, and they're like real assholes, like Mark Zuckerberg. they're like terrible people, and they would draw them. They're like called robber barons, and they would draw them in huge, disgusting octopus sort of squid stuff. I don't know. You guys remember history?
Vaguely.
Big. So let's talk about the writing. So Paul Thomas Anderson did not go to film school.
Yeah.
He went to college. I think it was NYU, and then he was first an English major, and then he switched to film, and he stayed about 2 weeks in the film program before he dropped out. He has a story about how he took this Hollywood script written by this famous guy, and he thought it was amazing, and he like turned that in as an assignment, and he got a C on it. So he's like, okay, fuck this, and then he just dropped out. So he doesn't, and he said himself that he doesn't know how to structure a story. Like he just sort of like does whatever he wants.
He just writes.
He writes on Word, by the way, which is insane to write a script on Word, and also probably a headache to whoever
I
like
guess.
puts it into the proper format. But anyways, yeah. So what did you guys think about the sort of structure of the story? Would you say it's traditional in its structure?
Sure. I mean, I think there were moments where I was like, where is this story going, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not obviously, but like the movie was kind of like character driven, right? So it was kind of like you're just following this guy's life. Where that will lead, who knows, right? It's
Yeah.
just, that's life.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I don't. I guess it was traditional enough. I didn't really notice anything. I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. I feel like the structure just felt like I was watching a pretty normal story being told. Like, I don't know. Like, does this movie feel like it's broken down in parts? Because I kind of feel like it, right?
Yeah.
What parts would you say? Is it 3 acts?
19, 18. I'm just kidding.
So I think the first act is him getting the Sunday land up until I think the rig blows up. I think that's probably where I would say the first act goes to.
It's a long first act.
Yeah. Unless this has multiple acts, maybe. More than 3, I mean.
Like probably 5, right?
Man,
Because
yeah.
it kind of
Well,
feels
like
Shakespearean.
each marker of time, I feel like that's
How many
more-
markers of time was there?
there's at least 4, I think.
Really?
it's the-
I do
it's-
not remember
It's
4.
when he
The
was by
opening scene,
himself.
and
That was
then
one, and then when he
the first
struck oil,
yeah, first
and
time.
then
Alright.
when HW was a little bit older,
Yeah.
and
And
then
then by the time he was an old man.
yeah, so like
That's
like
4?
Alright.
I'm sure there's like another one. Because
I think we're missing one. Yeah,
like Shakespeare, it feels very Shakespearean, would you say?
I have no idea.
You
Yeah,
never
what's
read
Shakespearean?
We're ignorant, so
You've read Shakespeare, Jasmine.
I don't think I did.
What?
Wish I did.
Damn. Nothing? You've watched Shakespeare movies, though?
I've watched Romeo and Juliet probably.
Was it Leonardo DiCaprio?
I've watched what's that thing? That 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Like, it feels like super, like, theatrical.
Sure.
Yeah, would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's like a slow movie. Would you say this is a slow movie? I
Yeah.
said it was a slow movie. Because, and then Jasmine seemed like you were surprised by that.
It's not. I wouldn't say like no. I don't know. What was the movie that I said before was slow that I couldn't get through?
Roma?
I mean, I've never finished it, so maybe. Because I feel like even though not a lot happens, I think this is why the score is so good. It makes it seem like
a lot is
a
happening.
lot is happening.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel slow.
Uh-huh.
Even though maybe the storyline's kind of slow,
Mm-hmm.
it still feels like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it felt kind of slow, but not in a bad way. But I feel like it felt slow with these spikes of intensity
Yeah.
thrown in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
throughout the most part, I would say it does feel kind of slowish.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of shots where it's just like you're seeing someone walk,
Yeah.
basically. Like when they're walking to the Sunday farm, you just see them drive, and you see them drive for like 2-3 minutes, and you're just staring there. Yeah, and that felt.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't feel that then.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, so I thought this would be a good introduction to sort of like slow burn movies, because I know it's kind of hard to do that when you're starting.
I mean,
out.
yeah, I guess because like, really, like the climax of the movie is like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
and like the oil rig happens an hour in, and then there's like
yeah.
an hour and 30 minutes left. So it's long and it's kind of slow. And I felt like, there's a lot of good movies that are very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not used to seeing really slow movies or long movies or movies in general.
A lot of the movies we've seen are pretty long and slow.
I wouldn't say that.
What have we seen that's slow?
We saw Inside Llewyn Davis.
I didn't see that with you
didn't
guys.
see that. Yeah. So
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't remember.
yeah. So it's like, I think this is. Are you used to slow movies?
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like one of the first ones I watched. So figured that'd be a good introduction to like sort of ease you into it.
Sure.
Because I was planning on watching Roma maybe, and I was like, nah, it's too slow for Jasmine.
Too slow.
It's pretty slow. It's you haven't seen it, right?
Roma?
Yeah.
I haven't finished it.
Wow.
started
it. Same.
Yeah.
It's super slow. It is. It's like you just watch someone like watching a movie for like 5 minutes. And then,
But I mean, I think is that just because if you think of Roma and There Will Be Blood, you're following like a person.
Yeah.
And I think that's what maybe makes it slow. Is that for
Well-
most of our lives, nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
But then when stuff happens, it feels
very-
like stuff's happening.
Yeah, and I think it's not just that. I think it's like the sort of moments in between where you just sort of watch them like swim, like that scene where
Yeah.
he's just swimming, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Even though like at the end he finds something like he.
Yeah, and
Can-
it's intense.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know what would you think about his brother? By the way, that sort of.
So I feel
Plot
like
point.
I've seen that actor before.
Yeah, I think
Right?
I've seen him too.
So I feel like he plays sketchy characters.
Just because how he looks like.
Yeah.
So
I
right
was
away, you
like-
thought he was a sketchy guy?
Yeah.
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 I never thought anything, and I thought when the kid burned his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was just like throwing a tantrum.
Is that
But-
what he was doing?
No, it's because he like. Do you know what he was doing?
Yeah, he like knew
He like yeah.
because he was
Oh,
reading
'cause
his
you have the book.
diary.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
he
you're
was
right.
reading the
Okay.
diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he burned it because he can't communicate.
Mm.
So yeah, and then he, yeah.
Okay.
There's that funny scene where he like chases after him.
Yeah.
That was kinda, and then he stopped for a second.
So why didn't he just tell his dad? Like he can still talk.
He could write too.
He can write. Why is he just let his dad know? Hey, guy, that's not really your brother.
I don't know.
Just so
Kids
you know.
aren't very reasonable.
True.
I don't know, man. I feel like instead of doing something so extreme, a kid would probably try telling him first
Yeah.
instead of burning it the whole house down while he's still in there. His dad's still in there. Like,
Well, you know, sacrifices.
That wouldn't have made his character development as sinister. If I think that was like the thing. I don't know. Never mind.
Wait, what were you saying?
Well, because I was like, I feel like we needed a reason to like, okay, this guy's a bad guy, right? Like
Mhm.
to make him. And I also think it played into what happened later on in the story. So maybe it was just like a device, right?
Explain more.
yeah,
So-
which part are you talking about
Yeah.
later on?
Yeah.
Okay, so like obviously like a switch of power dynamic between Eli and Daniel was when the brandy
Yeah.
people were like, you have to like something repent for your
Go to
sin,
church,
blah
yeah.
blah blah, and then there was that switch where Eli was like slapping him, was like, you have to say this, you sinner, blah blah
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
you abandoned your son, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
right?
And then his son comes and he slaps him too.
Yeah. Well, I don't, but so I don't know. Maybe that's why things had to happen that way, so that that moment can occur, and then obviously that moment occurs again at the end of the movie with the roles switched. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think you have something there,
Yeah.
but and I think and my brain is trying to connect it.
So what I'm saying is like maybe it would have made more sense what Andy's saying, but as a writing device, we needed for him to be more flawed than he already was, right? Something that they could hold
like,
against
yeah.
him.
So like that causes him to get rid of his son, basically.
And then I think that also kind of causes him to like descend into madness, right? Because like his son was like the only person,
That
like,
was
his
keeping
only
him down to
linkage
earth?
to like humanity,
Humanity.
right?
Yeah.
And then after
yeah.
that kind of helped him.
Yeah, he
not
like
helped him,
murders.
but
he
not that
murders
it
the guy.
helped him, but like that's caused or
Yeah.
contributed to his descent further into like madness
Yeah,
and
he kills the guy.
yeah.
You think he was wrong for killing that guy?
Nah.
You don't think so?
I feel like that's kind of a pretty awful thing to lie about, but
But like, no, it doesn't deserve death.
oh,
I mean,
in
it
these
was a
olden
wild
times, they
time,
killed people for anything, right?
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
when Grandpa was young, right? That was just
Yeah.
the law of the land.
Yeah, well, I mean,
An
that
eye
was-
for an eye,
and
basically.
Yeah, basically. But that's a bit of an overreaction. I guess he felt betrayed because I think he probably, because he also took his brother to a meeting, like he took his son to
Yeah.
a meeting.
yeah,
Just, you know, so I think that was like he was supposed to see his humanity in him as well.
Yeah. Oh,
But
and then
then-
he talked about like, oh, I feel better now having you here,
Yeah,
right?
and then he finds
It's
out
like a
that
breath. I said something.
Yeah,
about
a second life. Or
yes.
something, yeah. And then he turns out he was lying. He's just like, oh my god, I can't believe.
Well,
it.
then he also talks about, he told him like the more I see of people, the less I like, right? So
Mhm.
maybe like there's a seemingly okay, like this is somebody I can potentially rely on, right?
Mhm.
And it
Mm.
turns out it's not, right? And he's already
Yeah.
told him like I already kind of hate people. I don't need a lot of interaction with
I see
people
the
to
worst in
hate,
people.
Yeah.
right? And it's like, dang it, this guy's a horrible person.
yeah, yeah.
He manipulated me and lied about my family.
Yeah, and that's why he goes down.
I don't know if he deserved it, but I'm like, whatever. I kind of knew something was gonna happen to him.
Yeah, because of the scene in the beach. It took me
Oh
a
no,
while.
before
to
that, like the minute
Oh, yeah,
the
okay.
minute they introduced him.
You're like, oh, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
To you. The scene at the beach took me a while to understand because of the peach tree dance.
Yeah. Oh, so when that happened, I rewind it because I was
Yeah.
like, why did his expression change? And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that was supposed to be meaningful of something.
Yeah, back where they
Like
grew up.
in what's it called indoor joke? What's it called?
Yeah. Well, that's like
What's
where
that called?
Inside,
Inside joke.
because
indoor.
where he grew up, they had
Yeah.
a dance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it took me a while. I watched this when I was 15, so I was confused a lot. By the way, like the
Sounds
first
good.
time I watched it, I'm like,
This is
it took.
good.
I didn't
but
know there
why?
was twin brothers.
Oh.
You know, at first I was like, did that guy lie?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was honestly thinking. And then he like told his dad like it was my brother. I remember what his name
Yeah.
was.
Paul.
And
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's
yeah.
not.
he's not
just
crazy.
pretending.
Yeah. He actually had a brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have acting.
Yeah.
Daniel
Acting.
Day-Lewis.
Apparently, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's apparently
thought
I
everyone
don't know
was
what
great.
else to comment on this. One,
Yeah,
right? So I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis is like
he's
like
the
one
top
of the greatest,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we know he's
Yeah,
a good
we know
actor.
he's a good actor. By the way, Paul Dano, great performance, right? So there was originally there was an actor cast before him in that role,
Mm-hmm.
and then Paul Thomas Anderson ended up not liking what he was doing, so then he fired him 2 weeks before they were going to start
Wow.
shooting. So then Paul Dano got cast 2 weeks before, so he had 2 weeks to prepare, and that's comparing to Daniel Day-Lewis's. He had about a year to
Wow.
prepare. So great job, Paul Dano. You like short time. You did it, man. You
Yeah.
did it. Congratulations. You're amazing. Yeah, but Daniel Day-Lewis also like put on so his voice.
Great.
Did you guys notice anything about his voice being like different than we talk?
What does he normally sound like?
Because he's British.
He's British. Yeah, he's British, but he's also like modern. And he always tries to do something with his voice. So like when he played Lincoln, he like tried to like we have guesses. We don't know what Lincoln sounded like,
Mhm.
but we have guesses based on how
Yes.
his vocal cords were like and blah 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 blah.
Sure.
So that's why he tried to imitate that with Lincoln, and with this he tried to imitate how they used to talk because we talk differently now compared to like what they talked in the beginning of the 20th century.
Sure.
So like he was like trying to get that sort of
Gravelly?
yeah, and like that accent, that American accent that doesn't exist anymore really. I mean, unless people talk like that. No, I'm not aware of you.
Yeah, like cowboy talk, right? But not
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah, and it's probably more grounded in reality than like howdy part.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But yeah, I got that sense from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's also the physicality of it, where especially at the end when he's just like,
Slouching.
Yeah.
and, you know, he's just like moving around like, he has
Yeah.
this.
A grumpy old man.
Yeah. He yells very well too.
Oh yeah,
Especially-
like when he gets hurt, that's great. That sounds super
Yeah.
realistic and painful.
And then there's also that scene at the end where he kills Paul Dano.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I drink your. That's the famous scene, by the
Drink
way.
your
That's like
milkshake
that's the-
with my or something about
yeah,
straw.
with my straw.
Milkshake existed back then. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
so-
sure I've seen that scene.
Yeah, that's like the famous quote from the movie.
Mm.
There's a poster that has like the oil rig as like a cross of
Mhm.
Jesus,
Yeah.
and then the line is "I drink your milkshake" right on the poster.
So I want to make a comment real quick.
yeah,
So you know, on the Wikipedia summary that I apparently did a really bad job writing, there the very last sentence talks about like their feud or something, right?
Mhm. And
so,
yeah,
so it makes it, I don't know. It makes it seem like they have like a really intense rivalry, which I don't necessarily know if
I think
I
they do.
agree with that.
It definitely doesn't feel intense.
Yeah. Well, because I always feel like I not always feel like what I feel like it's very clear where their power dynamic lies, right? And I never thought for a second that Eli could ever
overtake him.
overtake him. Not at all.
Yeah, well, like in the beginning, when he goes to the farm and then he's like having the meeting at the table, like he immediately gets annoyed by Eli,
Yeah.
right? Because Eli's like, "What about our oil?" Blah, blah, blah.
You know what? I think at that point I was like, okay, maybe. But then the minute I saw him at the church, I was like, no. No, this guy's
too
not gonna do
crazy,
it.
yeah.
He's just an ignorant fool.
Yeah, and like obviously, like at the end, like
Because I thought it was
That's
gonna
what
be more
happens.
like, not that I've seen what is it, Doubt,
yeah, I seen that.
but I feel like if his character had been portrayed as more grounded rather than like what's it called?
Televangelist or something.
Yeah, like that televangelist vibe, maybe I would have bought that he was like a smart, clever, and could have like outwitted
Yeah, him.
him.
Well,
but
I think that's probably on purpose, though.
Yeah, I
Because
mean-
he thinks he's smart and
Yeah.
clever, but he's not.
yeah,
His brother is the one.
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And his brother is much more like
cunning. No,
yeah,
not even
and calm.
cunning.
Like he's like very like mild natured. Like he's not intense.
Yeah.
He's just like
Yeah. So I think because when I read like the summary like about being a preacher or something, okay, like it's gonna be like a mild mannered type of man, and I don't necessarily. Yeah. So if he wasn't that, so I was like, oh yeah, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, and like he's very like emotionally charged because like he starts like attacking his father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which yeah.
So I feel like the feud was more so. I feel like it was more intense between Daniel and HW than not feud, but like there was more
conflict.
Interesting conflict with them. I didn't really. I was like, yeah, I he just sees him like as a physical obstacle. Yeah. Like, what's his name? Paul? No, Eli.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, HW and Daniel had like an emotional and mental kind of like conflict that I was more interested in.
Yeah. Well, that slapping scene slaps. So.
What slapping scene?
There's multiple.
Oh, when the kid?
Yeah, when he hits Paul Dano. Slaps him. Bum, bum. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Imagine just getting like completely bashed by slaps. Like, and then he doesn't clean himself up. He's just at dinner.
Right, he's still covered in mud.
He's just a pouty little boy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was supposed to portray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on that.
What do I have here? We already talked about the score.
Yeah. Great.
Radiohead. Oh, by the way, Paul Thomas Anderson directed the music video for Radiohead.
Oh,
because they apparently have a relationship.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like Spike Jonze.
He's married to Maya
Rudolph. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird pairing, I'd say, but they talk about how he worked with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And he went to SNL to see him, and then that's how he met Maya Rudolph. By the way, he was still with someone.
Man.
By then.
Nice.
Yeah. He also has accusations from an ex about being abusive. I don't know. I feel like we have to mention that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Fair.
Yeah. Cinematography. It won in the Oscar for best cinematography. So, anything special about the cinematography you guys noticed?
There's a lot of panning of like the environment, right? Then there's that one kind of like long scene when he rescued W, and it kind of just followed them as they walked, and then the music was like that clack, 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 clack.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I noticed, and I guess the church scene too, right? That was very. It was like. Is that part of cinematography? Because like initially when we first see the church, it's all dark and dingy, right? And then it's really brightly lit. And then there's like that big cross. So I don't know.
I didn't notice that. I gotta be honest with you.
No. Yeah. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, you notice anything?
I don't know what it means, but
the sky was beautiful blue a lot of times. That's about it as far as it goes for me.
So I think, are you noticing camera movements now? I think you said you
noticed
panned.
that one. Well, because there's like that long scene where it just follows him as he's walking,
and it sort of
or
like
running, I
to
suppose.
And the mountains as well in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of slow camera movements and a lot of long shots.
Yeah.
So like when trying to remember something so I can have it as an example. So like when he's doing the sort of like the measuring stuff, and it's just sort of like stuck on him, like looking through the whatever thing, and then it just sort of like slowly moves in, and it's like we just stay on that for like a while. And there's a lot of that where you just stay with them, and it's very slow moving. It's very I can't think of a word. Yeah, it's very slow moving. I can't think of a word to describe it. It's just very like sort of eerie,
sure?
Eerie, yeah, because it's sort of like you know. That's his best. I'm the expert, by the way.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about editing. What did you guys notice about editing?
You know what? Nothing.
Nothing. What are you gonna say?
No.
Nothing.
Sound editing though, that I did notice.
Yeah.
The other editing. I don't know.
I definitely didn't notice any jarring cuts or anything like that.
No.
Does that count?
Yeah. I think there is one, like especially like after the kid burns and stuff.
Man.
And then we just cut to the train.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And that's, I don't know. That's kind of, there's some stuff not even if it's not like jarring cut, like we just move to a different place like right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of funny. Not funny. I'm
Interesting.
tired right now. It's interesting, yes, but like I'm
Do
sure
you think
it
it
means
takes
something.
away from like the feel of me? Okay, so then I think that's why my theory is correct, right? 'Cause it's like, okay, I need to do this. I need to get him from here to here. How can I do that? I guess I'll just do this. Bam.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I think that's probably what Paul did.
Yeah, it's like, how can I get from here to here?
No, just
we're
fucking go.
connected. Yeah,
Yeah,
bye,
just
kid.
go. Yeah, and there's also like in the beginning where he goes from being alone to from the baby sort of thing to like him giving a speech
Mhm.
with HW grown up, and it's sort of like it's like a fade.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot the name of that. Edit, but it's like sort of fades away, and the new image sort of fades in.
Mm-hmm.
That's very nice. It's very like classic film. You don't really see that.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is shot on 35 millimeter, as most movies were shot back then. It's more rare now, but you know what 35 millimeter is?
Yeah, where it's like an actual strip of
Film. Yeah. Yes. And Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those guys who's all like, film should be shot on film, man.
It's right in the name, dude.
Like Tarantino. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, so these guys are contemporaries.
Sure.
Paul,
I mean,
Paul,
not
Thom-
sure. Yes.
Paul Thomas Anderson and Quentin Tarantino. So what do you think about their sort of like the
Very
contrast?
similar.
You think it's similar?
Yeah, I feel like their writing both focus a lot on dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
and they both have very, very great dialogue. Like they
Mhm.
both write dialogue
Yeah.
really nice. I really
Yeah.
enjoy both that.
They
for that.
both, focus on like smaller moments.
Yeah.
Like there's that scene where he's at the restaurant with his son, and you just sort of like stay looking like at the guy like losing his mind at them.
Yeah.
That was so awkward, dude.
Pretty funny.
Right, especially when you put that napkin over his face.
Right? Like what?
What are you
What are you
doing, man?
Is
doing?
it so his son can't read lips, or is it just?
I don't-
I
I don't know. I have no idea.
So it's like the only blooper in the film. It's on YouTube. You can see Daniel Day-Lewis just like breaking. He just starts laughing, and that's a method actor doing it.
Dang. Are they not supposed to do bloopers?
No, he's like supposed to stay in character the whole time,
Yeah,
but he just broke. So that's funny.
that's good.
Yeah,
He seems like a interesting guy.
yeah. He's retired now. So
Yeah.
thank you for your performances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said they were similar. Do you want to expand on that as well?
So, let me see. I feel like a lot of Tarantino's movies are like character studies, right? And you're
Yeah.
kind of just following them
Yeah.
through like their life events, right? And so there's like some really slow moments, and there's very dynamic moments. And I don't know. I feel like, for the most part, I feel like. Is this true? No, it's not true. I think they both kind of like highlight the stories of people who are not necessarily like traditional protagonists, that they're good.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of flawed and like
Yeah.
badness and evilness.
Mm.
But even with that, you can kind of still, at least I don't know about you guys, I still,
See the humanity in them.
no, not necessarily humanity, but like I
The good in
root
them.
for them.
You root
like
for
like
them.
I
You root
I
for this
enjoy
guy?
this character. I don't know if I root for him, but like out of everyone there besides HW, I like him. Like they write really interesting characters that like you're invested in their story, even though you know they're not good people.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. Rather like when other, like there's bad people, like I don't care about this guy. Screw
Mhm.
him. Like he's a bad person, but I want to see where he ends.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the child actor. What do you think about him? Think a good job.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably like my age now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's really weird to think about. But he's very silent for most of the time. He has very serious face.
Yeah.
And then that oil. I think he does very well in that oil.
Where he's like,
I can't hear my voice.
yeah.
Yeah. And then he starts going. Mm. What was that for though?
I think it's like self-soothing.
Because he can't hear.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be self-soothing?
No, I don't know. Maybe just the
Didn't you study
the
speech and hearing?
vibrations. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I mean, but that because it's an acquired hearing loss, right? It happened
Yeah.
later in life, and generally, kids who are like born deaf or like they'll like start babbling, but then they'll stop, because they're not getting that auditory feedback. So I think for him, it was him maybe trying to see if he could hear, because there was that point when he was like snapping his fingers. So I think it was like his seeing if he could hear, but I think it was also kind of like a soothing thing. And just like
very unnerving. It was just like
because you can still feel the vibration, so you know you can talk, right? You just can't hear it. So I think maybe that's where it was coming from, but I don't know.
It's great. Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, and then the dad was humming too. Sorry.
Yeah, he was like doing like a lullaby though.
Yeah.
So
was he?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's because like I mean, obviously people who are deaf can still feel things and can hear. Some of them can still hear things out of the like lower frequency sounds they can hear. Just depends where your hearing loss is. But I think it was like a soothing thing, and I think that's what that scene was supposed to be.
Yeah, well, like he's like caressing his son too.
Yeah.
Even though he's like, stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's probably like he just doesn't understand because he also still like talks to him.
Yeah.
Why do you think he gave him alcohol, by the way?
I don't know.
I mean, he was doing that since he was a baby.
Well, I mean, that was like a little bit to like numb him.
I think it was that after the doctor's visit or before? I think it was after, right? So
maybe.
I don't know.
Sorry, I can't remember.
I don't know.
But yeah, like he just like tells him to chug it.
Oh, but then he puts him to like sleep, right? Maybe he just gave him the alcohol so he wouldn't wake up.
Maybe.
Like.
Maybe.
What happened after that scene? He goes outside to speak with his brother, right? Well, his brother.
Oh, maybe.
So maybe he's just like didn't want him to interrupt.
Maybe.
Or maybe like just walk around or burn something at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about this movie?
Andy?
Did you guys like Eli?
No.
At all?
No.
I felt bad for him
at the end, but like.
I felt bad for him multiple parts.
Why?
I don't know, man. I don't feel like he deserved to get beat up.
I don't think he deserved to die.
Yeah, he absolutely did not deserve that. Like, but like even just the slapping part, like he didn't deserve that.
You know?
Well, did he? I don't know.
He's annoying.
Asking someone for money at that moment was probably the wrong time, but
yeah.
but he was
right.
promised that money. Yeah,
he was in his right to ask for that, right? Interesting, right? Because I feel like I'm more sympathetic to Daniel's character than I am towards Eli's character. And I think it's because I feel like if he seemed like he was that okay? So we talked about how Daniel's like this determined person,
ruthless.
He's ruthless, but he's like a strong character, but tiene el carácter fuerte, right?
Yeah, he's got a strong personality.
But not just that, but like he can stand on his own, right? He has kind of showed that, like, I don't know, but like, and then the Eli guy's very like weak and feeble and like whiny.
Yeah, he doesn't quite understand the world he lives in. I think
maybe, but I don't know. I think they portrayed him. I don't know if it was intentional, but like maybe it was because like even though it's a bad guy, I preferred him over Eli, even though Eli was supposed to be a moral character, but he didn't seem like a moral character. So I was like.
He seemed kind of I think he was kind of selfish in his own right too, but
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I wasn't necessarily sympathetic towards him. Obviously, I was like, well, he shouldn't have died.
No, he shouldn't have.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ending scene.
Yeah,
that's interesting, right?
Yeah,
because like he's like, I'm finished, and then there's like this really happy music, right? And it's a very like stark contrast to what just happened.
Was it happy?
Didn't you hear it?
I remember it being happy. I remember it being like
upbeat?
A little more upbeat, but
right, but it was very like
Maybe play it.
Yeah, let's hear it before I decide.
It was like, I'm finished, and then it's like like what? that's the end. But yeah, it was different, right?
Yeah, I was absolutely not expecting him to kill him.
No,
like even when he was throwing stuff at him, I thought, all right, he's just gonna kick him out. But no, he just straight up kills him. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I hear that being more upbeat.
Like I'd expect to hear that like in a Jane Austen adaptation or something. It's like very like happy, like or like kind of like funny, not funny, but like jolly.
I wonder why that contrast is there.
So
because he finally killed the villain.
Because he's finished. He's done. His adversary. I don't know. I guess I didn't really like. I feel like an adversary is somebody who like, this guy can actually
Like if it was like his oil,
beat me.
like another oil.
Yeah. Then I was like, okay. But then I was like, this guy like, he's not even any competition to you.
He's asking for money.
Yeah, he came here asked for money because he was talking about how he really needs it. Like,
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, obviously there's that like hatred towards him because he basically humiliated him at the church.
Yeah.
So.
Did he deserve to die?
No.
And he dies like in such a humiliating way too. Where he gets beaten by pins, by bowling pins.
Sure.
while he's running away and ducking and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Wild. And then the butler's just like,
Okay, all right. I guess another body.
yeah, basically. Like, okay, sir, are you okay? Like, yeah, I'm done. That's it.
All right. So, anything else?
Nope.
So, I was expecting a bunch of like religious themes in this.
There
All right.
are. Go on.
And I was thinking I just don't know them because I don't know about religion. Because I know Daniel and Eli are both like religious names, right?
Mary, Abel. The dad's name was Abel.
Yeah.
Paul.
But I have no idea who they are in the Bible. So I was thinking
Daniel's
like,
an
Daniel
angel.
and Eli are both
Angels.
angels, and Daniel was also
and are they rivals in the Bible?
no, I don't think so.
Alright.
Well, Daniel, who was he? Era un
I
el
don't
rey
know.
Daniel, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
I
mean,
thought Daniel was the guy who runs
You
away
know-
from lions.
Isn't he the?
No, he
the
doesn't
guy
run
with
away
the
from
sword?
lions.
He's
He
the guy
just
with the
there's a
stands
sword.
few
there.
Dan- There's
He's the
a
one
few
with the sword.
Daniels.
Oh, okay.
Right, the fire sword.
The fire sword. How? I don't know, man.
The Bible has a fire sword. in it.
The Bible is sick, dude.
yeah.
No, David. Sorry, it was
Metal.
King David. Never mind. Yeah.
So Daniel's the guy with the lions, right?
Yeah. I don't
Sick.
think.
So see, I knew. I don't know if I knew, but I thought Daniel was the guy with the lions, so I thought that was gonna become relevant. And I thought like with all these Bible names, like there was gonna be secret Bible stories with them.
No.
And I thought maybe they just like flew over my head.
See, I was gonna look into the names. But I was like, I don't think they're relevant at all.
Okay.
Because if anything, they should have named the brothers Abel and Cain or something. But not obviously,
Hmm.
nobody would name their son Cain unless they hated them. But I was like, no, I think that I think what Ugo said about like, I think there's definitely like a sense of like the hypocrisy of religion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially,
Yeah.
and then this fakeness.
Yeah.
And this, because
Well, yeah.
immediately once he needed money, he was ready to like
Denounce God.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah.
also Daniel sort of like treats capitalism as his own religion as well. He like
Oh,
lives
yeah.
by the rules of capitalism,
Mm.
competition, and being ruthless and blah blah blah. So there's that as well. So I think there's like a similarity in it of like the cults of worship of God versus the cults of worship of capital. And especially because like he's doing well during the Great Depression. Huh?
I forgot I was gonna mention something. I
What?
just something triggered that. So in that initial scene where they humiliated him, even though like humiliated him, I think it also gave him an advantage, right? Because it I don't know if it gave him an advantage, but I also feel
Because they
like
gave him the land. And
it gave him the land, but
Right.
also I think it helped kind of establish a sense of humanity, right? Like, I'm also a sinner, blah blah blah, and then afterwards, like, oh, welcome, brother, Plainview, right?
Yeah.
Or Plantview. I don't know what the
Plain
place is
view.
called. So I was like, I don't know if it necessarily affected him. I mean, maybe it affected his ego, but I also feel like it helped establish this appearance he had of like this being this trustworthy, like,
Yeah.
what's it called, boy next door.
Boy next door. I'm just a person like you,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though I hate all of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
I think that was all I was thinking about.
Yeah.
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 Cool. What time? 1 hour and 1 minute.
Sounds good.
4 minutes. I mean.
Are you gonna
Okay.
do a rating?
Oh yeah.
What
Well,
would you guys change about this movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything that I'm
To
like.
change? Yeah. You?
Nothing.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Right. Rating out of 10.
8.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that score from you.
Really?
Yeah, because you kind of like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was great.
Yeah.
I would definitely rewatch this.
Yeah. It's like it's constantly like in the top 10s of like
Of the
people's
greatest
all
movies of the
times.
decade.
Yeah.
Or of all time.
All time as well.
Wow, that's
Well, it's not
fantastic.
the decade. It was 2 decades ago. So.
Wow.
Wow.
I feel old.
Yeah. Ah, God. Anyways. Oh yeah, it lost Best Picture to Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men.
I hear that's a good movie too, though.
It's
right?
good. I think this is better now.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
You don't know? You never seen it?
No, I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
I don't know which one I prefer right now.
Oh,
I
nice.
think I'm leaning more towards No Country for Old Men.
Really?
I think so.
Nice. Yeah, I watched it when I was 17, so it was just.
And I
was
thought
like,
it
"Yeah."
was.
I think I watched it for the first time when I was about 17 too.
Nice.
I've never
Oh,
seen
when
it.
did I? 2007. You were 12 as well, right?
I've
you're
never
like
seen
12?
it, but I know what happens.
You probably
Something.
Something.
Good.
Yeah.
So a good
Good,
movie.
good,
You
yeah,
should watch
yeah.
The Kissing Booth 2 and then watch this one. And so it'll be a wild experience.
Yeah, it's like wow, what a like boom. You know?
Like they're, if you think about it, they're very similar in running time,
Yeah,
That
this
is
and
a
the
very similar
quality
movie.
is so different.
So different. Yeah. Yeah. So next week we're gonna be watching another good movie, another one of my favorites from high school. It's also it's me and Andres' one of my.
Our
It's a
mutual
movie we
favorite.
really like,
Yes.
and that's
What?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, is that what you're asking me? If
That's
I
it.
do it?
Yes.
Good.
That's probably one of my
Yeah.
top 3 favorite movies of all time right now, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
It was up there when I was in high school. By the time I was a senior, I don't think it was anymore. But yeah, I watched it. Yeah, we'll get into it next week.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so that's what we have to look forward to. It just came out on Netflix today.
Oh, nice.
So, should we do the following?
You want to do the plugs?
Follow me on Twitter, Andy_030.
Follow me at Gen Z Cool.
You can follow me, but I don't post anything.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night. I love you again.
Mr. Daniel?
I'm finished.